So most people choose those established brands out of fear.
I can see the whole wide world with these two eyes, and I can be whoever I wanna be, 'cause it's my life.
Hi, thanks for joining us for another episode of Ask Spurrell CPA. Today, as the Edmonton Business Coach, we're talking about how meeting customers' expectations isn't enough. So as the Edmonton Business Coach, again, we're talking about how meeting customers' expectations is not enough. And I have Michael here with me again. Michael, have you ever done business with someone or, had a product or service supplied by somebody who, was just checking the boxes and doing the bare minimum to get payment?
Definitely.
Yeah? Yeah. A lot of the big companies, right?
Yeah.
So the quote that we have here today, it's a Michael Gerber quote, author of our favorite, The E-Myth. And it says the entrepreneurial model has less to do with what's done in a business and more to do with how it's done. The commodity isn't what's important. The way it is delivered is. And the statistic that we have is, 50% of all Canadian small businesses will go out of business in the first 5 years. And the story that we see over and over is business owners, they have experience working for a more established company. And they don't realize that the customer expects more if they're dealing with a company that is not as established. So they come from this established brand and, there's a certain expectation. But when they go to a smaller brand, the customer is less uncertain. That expectation is different. So, Michael, what are the questions that these business owners should be asking?
Is there a difference between organization reputation and individual reputation?
There is, and it's a big difference. And there's a big difference, and it's hard to see. So, a business owner, they tend to come from a employment role, and they tend to be one of the more senior staff. They start an electrical business, and they're a journeyman electrician, maybe a master electrician, and they have a decade worth of experience, and that individual reputation is huge. They're looked at as, one of the leaders in their organization when they're an employee. And then they go start on their own. And the disconnect happens is they don't really realize that now as a company, they're a brand new, unknown, unproven, uncertain entity. Even though they have this huge individual reputation, the organization that they're working for now is now very low, and that's hard for them to differentiate. And they have to understand that there's two separate things going on there. That some people won't value that individual reputation as high. They just look at them as you're the new kid on the block, basically.
Well, most entrepreneurs have low organizational reputation when they start out.
Yeah, almost inherently. Like when they start out, whether their individual reputation is high or low, their organizational reputation is, if it's a startup, it's always low. So unless you're buying someone out or taking over the old owner's position where that organization itself has some, reputation, usually when they start out, it's starting from scratch, and that's really tough because a lot of these people come up with years or decades of experience, and they have to realize that the organizational reputation is an entirely different beast.
Do most people choose established brands out of fear?
Yeah. So most of the times you're on the road trip, you're driving, and you just want something to eat quick, and you just want something to eat fast, and you don't care if it's great, but you want to just make sure it's good, it's okay, it's going to be consistent. And then you see the golden arches as you're driving on the highway, right? And then you see, Joe's Diner right next to it. Most people are going to pick the golden arches. They know it's not going to be the best hamburger they ever had or the best meal they ever had, but it's going to be consistent. They're uncertain of what's behind Joe's Diner. There's a fear there. It might be a great experience. It might be a bad experience. The food might be good. It could be awful. We could get served quickly. It could take forever. So most people choose those established brands out of fear.
Should you focus on providing more value to sway customers?
Yeah, so the startup organization, that Joe's Diner, it has to focus on providing more value in order to sway customers, because the customers have that natural fear, and usually in the absence of more value, they're going to go with the more known brand. So if you're a small business, that's not going to help you at all because you're not a known brand. You have a low organizational reputation. So in order, if you want to sway them away from that, if you want someone to, make the decision to do business with you, knowing that fear is there, you have to have, the promise and deliver more value.
To provide more value, should you lower fees or add services and features?
Almost always you want to add services and features. So you don't want to be cheaper, because being cheaper is generally not a sustainable business model. It's not a scalable business model. I mean, if you got to do a few projects off the hop to get some reputation at all, I mean, you can do that on fees, but that's not something you should think about doing 2 years out, 3 years out, 4 years out, 5 years out. If you're still having to slash fees to get a job at that point, you're doing something wrong. What you really want to do, because it's going to take years, if not decades, to get this organizational reputation, is you'll still be small. You'll be moving up on that organizational reputation scale. But you still won't be the big player on the block, because you're competing with much more established brands, and sometimes multinational brands in a lot of different industries. So you have to focus on providing more value, and that tends to be better service or more features. So it's not cheaper, but there's extra benefits of going with us, or there's going to be less pain points of doing business with the small business, and that's how you sway them over.
Are there ways to add value that are not directly tied to a product or service?
Yeah. So sometimes everyone thinks about, what are the features of my product and service? Is my warranty longer? Do I have better products that I'm using? But they forget about, what Gerber says about the experience. What about the experience? Sometimes it's not directly related. How about just when you answered the phone? Was it pleasant? Was it a nicer experience? Was it a more upbeat experience when they came to your office or your place of business? Was it clean? Did you have better coffee for them to drink at the office? So did you maybe drop off a little gift or thank you card or donuts or whatever it is? Sometimes that value add isn't directly tied to that product or service. There's little add-ons that you can do that to some customers they don't care about, but to some it means the world to. So there's different things that you can do. I mean, you want to add value in both the product and service, but consider every interaction with the customer as an opportunity.
Should you look at every interaction as an opportunity to add value?
Yeah. So like drill right through that life cycle of the customer, right from when they pick up the phone or see you online the first time to 1 year after you provide the customer service. What can you do in every single interaction? Right from when they pick up the phone, do you have a good phone script? Do you confirm the appointment in advance? When they show up to the appointment, is someone offering them a beverage? Do they have something to do, something to watch, something to read when they're waiting, in the waiting room? When they come in, do you give them a nice tour of the facility, make them feel a little bit more at home? Do you have a script worked out to kind of break the ice and get to know people? Do you have a follow-up mechanism after even the wording of, when you're asking for the business after? Have you thought about that wording? And after you deliver the product and service, do you have a way to follow up 1 year later to see, a day later, a week later, a year later, to see if, they're still happy with everything? Did you deliver on that product or service? So every single interaction from, I would say, when they first call you to, a determined period of time after that product or service, and everything in between.
Should you always focus on over-delivering until you get a review or referral?
Yeah, and some people think about, they think it comes down to being selfish, and people think that, I don't want to over-deliver. Why should I go above and beyond? And over-delivering is probably one of the most selfish things that you can do. Because if you over-deliver, you're probably going to get that review or that referral that's going to lead to more business again. So you should want to do it because you enjoy your position, but even you have a passion for what you're doing. But even if you're a little on the fence, just realize that has a payback. So usually you keep going until that customer is not just you've met the minimum, but you've gone beyond their expectations, and that's the point where you're starting to get reviews and referrals, and that's what's really going to move your business forward.
Do most business owners underestimate the value of a review or a referral?
100%. Yeah, they really social proof is huge. It's very difficult to get people to act without social proof. We know in the online world we see that you can't even get websites to rank very well with less than 40 reviews. You can't buy ad space well with less than 40 reviews, and they don't convert even if you do get them there. So most people, drastically underestimate the reviews and the referrals. It's so expensive to acquire new customers. If you can get one for free from an existing customer, free is always a fantastic price if you can acquire a customer for free. And they convert better, and they tend to be more loyal clients, and they tend to stay longer. There's less resistant points with them. There's more trust right off the bat with them as well.
Will employees begin to over-deliver if they watch the company over-deliver?
Yeah, that's part of it too. So it's not just over-delivering to the customer. It starts to permeate its way into the entire organization. So the employees see the business owner striving to over-deliver, the management striving to over-deliver, and all of a sudden the frontline employees start to say, that's just our culture here. And now the employees at every level, at every task, they start to over-deliver as well. So that sort of behavior that starts with the interaction with the customer begins to permeate all throughout the organization, and then you become a real powerful force to be reckoned with for sure. So I think that's what we have here today. Thanks again for watching. Please hit the like and subscribe button so we can continue to deliver you tips on how to beat the odds at business. And as always, please leave us some comments below so we can respond back and know what you guys would like to see in future videos. Thanks very much.